name is Aart de Geus. I'm Deputy Secretary General of the OECD. We're happy to organize this in close cooperation with the Danish authorities, the Danish government and the city of Aarhus to have here this conference.
The issue of unemployment is really central now because it's jumped by 50% across the OECD countries. You need to have a very strong process of social dialogue, creating better quality jobs and less inequality in the labour market in the future.
Develop specific project for the unemployed and for the demand of the employers.
There's a lot of money involved. Smoothen the process, oil the process, and to have most effective outcomes for the unemployed people and therefore also for the country as a whole.
You shouldn't create labour markets which are so small that they do not cover a sort of natural labour market.
More freedom to define which is important for us and which is important for the youngsters.
At the local level, even good policies won't work unless there is the correct national policy.
There's no question about that the local authorities, as we have in our job center, will of course do the work with a great sense of accountability. We don't have any wishes to see away from accountability because we get more flexibility in our jobs.
What's very important is that the national employment policy is implemented at the local level. It's time to give more local freedom, more local flexibility.
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 Flexibility, it's an interesting concept. I can see that it provides some difficulty in some places. I can see that it provides some benefit and more transparency in other areas.
We need to ensure that our labour market agencies contribute to producing highly skilled workforce that can be innovative and adaptable.
Make it legal, make it finance. We as a management system should pursue in years to come is finding hard evidence whether measures work or not.
What is behind the German employment miracle? Flexibilisierungsgewinne vergangener Arbeitsmarktreformen wieder, insbesondere die Ausweitung der Kurzarbeit.
So for this to happen, obviously you need to have first an integrated skill strategy. You need to help people to progress in employment if they want to increase their living standards today.
We have a need for a solid macroeconomic thinking. If we're going to give you some benefits, you're going to do a program. Work together.
Working together with one another to supervise job seekers and finding new jobs or into setting up their own businesses. Regional cooperation in the labour market is now more necessary than ever.
Education should be the key player within the labour market policy.
Making good reform work, getting it right is absolutely essential. This is a bit like being on the Titanic and saying now we've got to have a management strategy meeting.
You know that strategy is something that culture eats for breakfast.
What we need is less entrepreneurship in the financial sector.
If we want to give local authorities large degree of flexibility and autonomy, they must carry the economic burden of failure in labour market policy.
Hos os i kommunerne, der er der et stort ønske om mindre central styring og større lokal råderum. Det er ikke nødvendigt at bekymre sig om større fleksibilitet vil betyde mindre ansvarlighed. Vi vil også som lokal offentlig myndighed leve op til det ansvarlighed, som følger med.
20 years ago, nobody knew that we'd be losing tens of thousands of jobs to China and so on. That, however, is a very good argument for staying flexible, to have a flexible labour market where workers and companies can adjust quickly to changing circumstances.
Even the local authorities think that they have flexibility in providing their services. There is something that we can work on. So one solution could be to actually make things a little more simple. Maybe some of the bureaucratic barriers that we have actually contribute to the lack of better results.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about what works for individuals, or are we also talking about what works for our local communities? I think perhaps there is an accountability gap here, but there's also perhaps a lack of understanding about what the broader role for labour market policy can be.